In this review, I get to talk about two things that I really, really enjoy, and that is horror movies and metal music. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome back to my channel. And the movie I'm going to review today is We Summon the Darkness. This is not the film I was originally intending to review. I was going to do The Invisible Man, which I had not seen, which finally got released for purchase on iTunes and other platforms. But as I was looking through the list of movies, I've seen this. This came out about a month ago on VOD, and I saw some other reviews for it a couple weeks ago. And I like metal music, and I like horror movies. You meld those together, and it's like, I'm interested. And Alexandra Daddario's in this film, and I like her as an actress, so I was like, let's check it out. It was like $9.99 to buy it on iTunes. And I think $4.99 to rent it. Maybe I might be wrong about that. But so I bought the movie, and I checked it out. Now, this movie, again, just came out about a month ago on VOD. It's an hour and 31 minutes long, and it's rated R, and it's directed by Mark Myers. And in this film, we got Alexandra Daddario as Alexis. Alexandra Daddario is no stranger to horror. She was in Texas Chainsaw 3D, which I know is polarizing for a lot of fans. I can enjoy that film as just a slasher film. As a Texas Chainsaw film, it leaves a lot to be desired. But she was also in Bereavement, the sequel to Malevolence, and she's really terrific in that film, and she's playing opposite of Michael Behan in that film. So she's no stranger to horror films. And another actress in this movie is no stranger to horror films, Amy Forsyth, who plays Bev in this film. She's a friend of Alexis, and because she was just in Hellfest a couple of years ago. And we also have Maddie Hansen as Val. I've never seen this woman in a movie before, but she's terrific in this film. And also in this film, we got Johnny Knoxville. He's not in the film much, but he's good in the role. He's only in the movie maybe 5 minutes total. And this movie is very simple. I'm not going to spoil this movie. Just came out a couple weeks ago. I'm just going to give the basic plot and give you my thoughts on it. This movie is basically about three friends going to a metal show. And the movie's set in Indiana in the 80s. And our three friends are Alexis, Val, and Bev. And they're in their car driving, and they're talking about these satanic ritual killings that have been going on in the news. This is the 80s. I don't know how many of you remember the 80s, but in the 80s there was a lot of satanic panic. And by that I mean there was a lot of supposed satanic rituals and killings in the 80s. A lot of it was bullshit. Some of it may not have been, but I know for the majority of it was bullshit. And it was more panic and hysteria over nothing. Not that people don't worship Satan. I know there are people that do that, but the whole satanic ritual killings wasn't going on the level that people thought they were with the panic that was going on. And all of a sudden, this blue van pulls up beside of them and throws something at their windshield. They pull over, and Alexis is pissed. She's snapping, and here it is. It's a chocolate milkshake. Once they get their car window cleaned off, they head on to the show. When they get to the parking lot, they see the same blue van parked there, and they see smoke coming out of it, leading you to believe the whoever's in the van is probably in the back smoking weed. And they decide to mess with whoever's in the van. They throw some firecrackers in there, and these three guys come stumbling out. And these three guys are good friends, and they're going to the metal show. And the girls confront them about what they did. And the guys honestly are cool about it. They apologize for it, and the girls end up hanging out with them, having a few drinks. And I've been to plenty of metal shows over the years. You can find really cool, down-to-earth people. I know metalheads get a bad rap sometimes, and horror fans, but there's some awesome people that are horror fans and metalheads. So don't discount anybody just because of what they listen to or watch. That should be a lesson in life. You can always find somebody cool to hang out with at a metal show or a horror convention, for sure. And they go into the show and they hang out together. After the show, these are three very attractive young ladies. And these guys are obviously young guys who really want to be with these young ladies. So they try to get them to do something after the show. And the girls say, well, why don't you come back to Alexis's house? It's only 30 minutes away. Nobody's there. We could party there. And the guys follow them back to Alexis's house. And this is a pretty nice house, large house. And they're out back by this fire pit, and they're drinking, and they're playing some game. And this is where the film takes a hard left turn into crazy town. And it's about all I'm going to say about the rest of the film. You got to watch it to figure out what else happens. Now, again, this movie is very steeped in the satanic panic of the 80s and religious extremism. That plays another heavy theme and has a lot to satanic panic, Satanism, and religious extremism, which go hand in hand, if you think about it, in a kind of odds kind of way. But that plays a major part of why things go down in this movie, for sure. Does the movie successfully put those points across? Yes and no. I think there's a lot of interesting ideas in this film, some of which come off really, really good well. Some of them I would have liked to have seen executed a little bit better. But overall, I enjoyed the film. And it also has to do a lot about, I don't know how many of you remember the 80s, but there was a list of bands in the 80s that was released by a religious organization, forgive me, I don't remember who, of bands that if you played backwards had a satanic message in them and they were Satanists. And some of the bands very well may be. And I know some bands use like Satan type symbolism in their artwork and such. But I remember bands like Def Leppard being on there. Get the hell out of here. I think Van Halen was on there. Iron Maiden, even though you might see some drawings that look like Iron Maiden, is by no means a satanic band. They just aren't. It's not. I love Iron Maiden. I've been a huge fan for years. They're not. Judas Priest was. I mean, the list was ridiculous, and it had to go at the times. Satanic Panic, and it was part of it. And this also explores a big part about religious extremism. Religious extremism is just as bad as Satanism, for Christ's sake. It's people taking one thing and taking it way, way out of context and pushing values that just aren't there. I'm not bagging on religion, but there are religious extremists around in the world, and they do very bad shit. And this movie has to deal with that. So overall, I think the movie's decently directed. There's some nice atmosphere. The one other thing I would say, these people are metalheads, and they talk about metal. They even reference Dave Mustaine getting kicked out of Metallica. They talk about Cliff Burton. They talk about Scorpions and all this stuff. And that's all fine and good, but there's not one metal song that you would recognize in this whole film. I would say that's probably has to do with the budget. They didn't have the money to license a song from a band to put in their film. So basically, it's just like what I like to call stock metal sounds, or they might have paid a local band to come up with something to put in there, because you don't hear anything recognizable to you in this whole film, really. Not metal-wise, anyway. There is a song that you'll recognize later on in the film, but it has nothing to do with metal. Other than that, the other complaint I'd say, two other complaints, small complaints, and then I'll give you my rating. There's an effect shot in this film, and you'll know it. If you watch this film, you'll know it when you see it, and it looks terrible. And it's the only effect shot that looks terrible. And it was like, I maybe didn't have the money to pull it off properly. And that's fine. I just think you could have found another way to finish that scene with the money you had, instead of trying to pull something off you obviously could not do. And the other thing is, even though the movie's only an hour and 31 minutes, there's some pacing issues in the second half. A couple minutes could have been trimmed off. Once the action starts and the shit hits the fan, there's a few moments that slow it down for no reason whatsoever. Not to build suspense really at all. It just happens. And it's like, that could have been cut out. But other than that, I had fun with this film. Again, it combines two things I really like: metal music and horror films. And if you're a horror fan, you don't have to be a metal fan, but if you're a horror fan, I think you might enjoy this film. It's not perfect. There's some problems, like I said. At the end of the day, I would give this film a 7 out of 10. I think the acting is pretty well done. Alexander Daddario is really good. Maddie Hansen's fantastic as Val. And Amy Forsythe's good as Bev. Johnny Knoxville's good in his short amount of screen time. And the guys that play the three friends are really good. I buy that they're friends in real life. Or, for the film, I bought that they were friends. So, yeah, I give We Summon the Darkness a 7 out of 10. Have you seen this film? If you have, leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. All that great stuff. And you all take care. And I'll see you soon in another review. Thanks. Bye.